We are going to begin at 2:10. There are some foreign presenters which already sent their videos, and domestic presenters will be present their presentation on site at the center. He is a member of BIKY staff and an elementary school teacher. Jugam elementary school teacher. 이성철. What is the title of your presentation? I'd like to tell about changes in children media experience and difficulties in film education. And he's from Gyeongju. Nice to meet you, and I am Ko Jang-seop, and working in Moai Elementary School. I'd like to give a presentation about the examples of the film education. There could be some differences between the presentation in person and the presentation I actually prepared. I'd like to show some examples of what I think about film education. Moai Elementary School is designated as Art Seed Flower School. And the other presenters from overseas will be presented on the videos. And there'll be a session with a discussion after the presentation, and then there will be interpreted from English to Korean and Korean to English. So there could be some technical issues you might face. Please be more patient, and please try. We are going to try the best. Please welcome the first presenter. This is the very first time for us to try to deliver our forum and then have a host a forum online and offline at the same time. It could be a lot of difficulties for us to go this forum smoothly. Please understand the situation. Thank you.
Is one of the so-called profiles of our school. Other profiles are dance, theater, and bilinguality. These profiles are not normal subjects. That means the students get no marks for participating. They can choose between the profiles when they apply for the school and have to attend to the chosen profile at least 3 years till the end of grade 9. After that, they may quit the profile or continue at grades 10 to 12. In grade 11 and 12, film becomes a regular subject. The students get marks that contribute to the final exam. In my presentation, I will cover classes 7 to 9. For 2 years now, we have been teaching with iPads. That means since 2018, the new students have been equipped with iPads, so that now all students of grade 7 and 8 can work with these tools. That was a great benefit during lockdown. The film lessons follow each year a main theme. For the youngest, this will be getting used to the equipment, iPad and apps. Grade 8 learns about journalism and documentary filming, and a major project in this year may finally combine fictional storytelling and documentary by producing future news. In ninth grade, light and shadow is a main topic, and the classes produce a fictional film in film noir style. For grade 10, we have a cooperation with a small TV station dedicated to trained students, which gives us the opportunity to produce a television magazine which is broadcast locally. The final grades 11 to 12 produce a short film, fictional or documentary, from first idea to final screening in small self-chosen teams. It is not our aim to bring every film student into a media-related job, but to develop a broad and basic skill set. By working mainly practically, we provide a deliberate counterbalance to the main subjects of the syllabus that are traditionally heavy on theory. In our practical approach, we focus on teamwork, responsibility, analytical thinking, process analysis and control, and problem-solving skills. The goal in each year is to finish with a presentation and to show own films to their parents, relatives, roommates, and teachers. A key skill our students acquire is to meet deadlines and to overcome every obstacle that shows up. This can only be accomplished in a mutual effort. Working in a film team and film class means getting to know your own strengths and the strengths of your classmates. It means to apply all these collective strengths to achieve the best possible results by working together. In contrast to regular subjects where individual competition is the norm and an even state of knowledge among all learners is the aim, in film classes we meet and foster specialists, because a team cannot exist without them. In a team we need makers, thinkers, carers, researchers, enthusiasts, listeners, analysts, scouts, and so many more to be prepared for the unknown into which every single film project inevitably will lead. This way, we know someone will find a solution for every problem that occurs. And this way, every film project will be exciting and adventurous, and it will take every single one of us beyond his or her current horizon. For these reasons, we try to make the first big team project right away in grade 7. The students write a script which is set in a school where magic is one of the subjects. Sounds familiar to anyone? This is big fun because we can do magic film tricks. We can let people float in the air, we can let things disappear, we can create weird creatures, and so much more. What the students learn with this big and several smaller projects is to work with the iPad and our main apps LumaFusion and Sketchbook. One of our classrooms has a green wall. It is not nice to teach in this room, but it is wonderful to have it for green screen shots. So with this tool set, we can do basic editing and keying, which provides nice magic results at the end of year 7. Hello, who is that? Ah, some silly chicks. They're linked somewhere in my iPad, obviously. They were made by grade 7 students during lockdown. But please, birdies, don't interrupt me again. The first project for the students of grade 7 are interviews with their classmates. These recordings we keep safe until the students finish school so we can show some sequences at their graduation ceremony. The interview project is followed by some basic animation practice with the editing app to introduce the concept of keyframes. First result of that work is an individual title sequence for each student, which has to be used from then on with every individual film exercise to label it. As I mentioned earlier, the second year of film practice at our school in grade 8 is dedicated mostly to journalism. In the opening phase of the year, students learn how journalists work, what the journalistic standards are, and how news reports are developed. After this, they write fictional news variations called future news. For these fiction and television programs, they work together in small teams of 3 to 5 students. They create segments with reporters and combine them to a newscast presented by an anchorman or woman. By preparing and producing these news programs, the students intensify their skills with the iPads. The production of future news again makes use of our green screen wall and includes a short introduction to the report lighting. Grade 9 is all about production of a fictional short film in a big team. Every student of the class chooses a specific job and sticks to it for the whole year. The goal is to produce a short film in film noir style. The reason for that is to learn to use light for staging scenes and conveying emotions and tension. The work with black and white film has also a very practical reason. We do not have to care about light temperature and color concepts, which saves a lot of time in preparation and on set. The filmed material will be converted to black and white afterwards digitally, but we try to use a black and white monitor on set to have best control over the final outcome. I will tell you about the several steps of such a film production on the basis of last year's project, which was in fact the first time we did that in this intensity. Sadly, this year's project was interrupted by lockdown, so we tried to convert the film script into an audiobook instead and produce it from several homes, which is an ongoing process so far. In Brandenburg, which is the part of Germany our school is situated, the size of classes is 24 students. That is very much if you want to guide and instruct every student with a specific individual task of operating the camera, recording the sound, setting the light, directing the actors, preparing costumes, and so on. So we fought and have to fight again from time to time for the permission to be in class with 2 instructors for big practical film projects. Additionally, we seek further help from our students' parents. If we are lucky, some of the parents are media professionals who are willing to share their knowledge with us. And we have often experienced that media professionals not related to the school are fascinated by the idea to make films with young students and volunteer generously to give talks to the classes or help with special problems. For the film noir project of last year's grade 9, we were lucky to have a father with us who is a professional director of photography and helped on 3 or 4 days on set. There are 4 phases of the film project I will present to you. First, the preparation, which comprised of finding ideas, researching, writing, rewriting, and storyboarding the script, making costume concepts and getting the costumes, finding locations, making shooting schedules, and so on. This phase took roughly 6 months. The next phase was the most fun but also the hardest work, the shooting. We had 4 days on set, spread over 4 weeks. We started very early because the students asked for it, meaning at 7 o'clock and in one case even at 6 o'clock in the morning, and finished about 10 hours later. The days were scheduled so that not everyone had to be on set the whole time. Only the costume and property departments and some of the technical crew had to be on set from the beginning to the end. But they had long intermissions during the day where they had to wait. And waiting is the hardest job of all. But waiting calmly and staying vigilant is also one of the most important skills on set. Editing is the third phase of our film production and took 2 months. In this phase, the students were split in very small teams. Some took the film material and made individual cuts of the main film, some worked on making off sequences for the final presentation, and some organized this presentation. The 4th part of the film production took place in our school's own cinema, which is a real treat to have. The presentation of the finished film and the making of sequences to parents, relatives, and teachers. This 4th part had a very pleasant sequel because our film was invited to the most important German youth film festival named Up and Coming in the town of Hanover. As this is a film festival, you surely want to see films, so I will now stop talking about filmmaking and show you some footage of this film. The title students chose is Swosok, which is the Russian word for way and has a double meaning: the path connecting to places or the matter of doing something. The story is set in 1981 in the German Democratic Republic, a time when the Berlin Wall still existed. The main character, Karl, feels increasingly uncomfortable in his country, and one day he tells his sister that he intends to flee over the Berlin Wall to West Berlin. This plan is overheard by Christian, who immediately informs some other classmates. Some are interested, some are angry and worried. Karl not only wants his sister to come with him, but also his girlfriend, Ina. Some other classmates are also willing to flee. One of them has got plans for his tour network. That is the way the kids want to use. Suddenly Christian appears in their hideout and forces his way into the group. Nobody knows who to trust, but they have to risk everything because they long for freedom. Warum sollten wir dich mitnehmen?
Weil wir keine andere Wahl haben. Es ist zu spät, er weiß Bescheid. Du meinst, du kannst nicht helfen? Ja, kann ich. Ja, mach dich, Peter. Sehr gut. Du bist dabei. Okay, lass uns weitermachen. Die Finalisation. Also, wir waren hier stehen geblieben. Wir sind im Westen.
This was a very short outline of what we do in film classes in grade 7 to 9. I thank you for your interest, and I thank the board of Busan International who helped quickly with every question that came up. A beautiful festival. Bye bye from Germany.
So to give a big hand to the presenter, Commander Bayer. This is the live streaming to the audiences or participants living in different countries. Let me tell you about the process of this forum. As you see the presentation on video, and the presenters who are speaking Korean here at the Forum Center, and it will be translated into English to the presenters in other countries. This is organized and supported by the Film Commission and UNESCO Creative City of Film Busan. And please welcome the next presenter, Go Jang-seop, the elementary school teacher. And the film education, nurturing the life and supporting to the life, for life to be grown. Go Jang-seop from Gyeongju Elementary School, Moa. Can you hear me well? Nice to meet you. And I am Ko Jang-seok from Moai Elementary School in Busan. I'd like to give a presentation about the film education which is growing our life or training and treating our lives. Let me show you a video clip what's going on in Moai Elementary School. This is the beginning of the video I made a few years ago. Science room. This is a video clip I prepared. The school is located surrounded with lots of fields for agriculture, and I'm working in a very small school. This is just a 6-year-old. Our school is very famous for the art flower seed school. And there are 6 students in senior and elementary school, which is the 6th grade. I started working at the elementary school since 2017, and I applied for being an art flower seed school in the next year. This school is representing the small schools, which is supporting the students to experience more culturally related activities. This elementary school, more is related to film making activities, which is a part of culture experience. I've been, working in film education, and I'll try to give more opportunities for the students to experience activities related to film education. I'd like to talk about what film education is like, and then opinions on film education on my own with you today at this forum. The film education, what I'm thinking about. Video language is the most effective expressive method. And the film education is a part of culture art education. And the film education, which is more needed in the YouTube era. And it is a result in the film education, which is training and growing our lives is more mature and bigger. Guess what this means? What this is, what this animal represents in different languages. In Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese, and Thai. When you see the Chinese characters, you might guess what it means. Do you know what it is? That's an elephant. It's much easier for the kids and yourselves to know what the animal means when it is represented in picture or video. There is no barriers when it comes to the videos. The language is combined with words and the language. There are certain objectives which we have to communicate or convey our ideas about the words and language. but the video or visual aid is more effective and easily accessible to guess what it is, and it is more understandable. This is the way of the students to know express clearly in the era of visual age. And I try to support the students to access this type of the media to represent their ideas on videos or visual images. I'm an elementary school, and in the first film education is more related to embrace the professional filmmakers. But the film education, what I'm thinking about is the object of the film education is to lead the students to have a happier lives. It is more like culture arts education rather than school education or academical reasons. And the part of arts and culture arts education is more related to expression, creativity, and sensitivity related arts. Which is related film education as well, and then those for three different aspects is related to happier lives for our students. Once they watch the films, and they can embrace and then more have compassion with other people's lives, which are different from their own. I think film education is needed to support our students to see other people's lives compared to their lives as well. There are the different categories in the film education, as I think. The videos which containing messages. That's my own opinion, so I'd like to share that with you. Actually fulfill the videos according to the video grammar, what is called. And then there are different methods to express visually as well. Let me tell you more about the second part, which is fulfill or which is adequate to the videos, which is well made with video grammar. This is proper to deliver the messages with the videos. I'd like to show you an examples what I did about film education in Moa Elementary School. This is the very recent one I'd like to share. And I've spent a lot of time to give this presentation today at this forum. Last Thursday and Friday, we did this activity, and it is categorized into 3 parts. There are 12 people engaged. We made a script all together and worked together and edited. I think the students are more skillful than the teachers. There is a film education lecturer who supported us to make this project completed altogether. Please watch the video clip I prepared. The Green Gathering Film Camp. First step is to make a group name. Second is completing the scenario or script in groups. first and second graders is kind of rough dance, learning activity. Script reading for shooting in groups. What do you think of the activities? It's really tough and challenging. It's tough, right? When you watch the films, please admire the film directors and you have to understand how tough it is. And the second day, morning, more accustomed to reading poetry. Fifth and sixth elementary school students are editing the film. This is a short film screening for the fifth and sixth graders in elementary school. They are going to screen 3 short films made by the more elementary school students. Did you enjoy watching the films?
안녕하십니까. 오늘 세상의 사회를 남기는 와셔의 학생입니다. 처음에 어때 못봤는데 다 같이 잘했으니까 모두에게 박수 쳐줄 수 있어요? 박수 부탁드립니다. 2025 예술과 치아학교 꿈노와 영화 캠프 감독사 문화 선생님. 다음 주에 큰 박수를 축하해 주시기 바랍니다. 연기상 조명입니다. 이석훈, 김정헌.
It's a little bit lengthy, but I'd like to focus more on the jobs all the teachers shared all together to produce a film. It's not only producing a film, and it is a part of the things we try to encourage students to develop their creativity and embracing other cultures also. I've seen one of the students since he was the third grade and then he's suffering from ADHD and with not a privileged family, but he could be more mature as he's aged. But in the process of the filmmaking, he got awarded as a Grand Prix and he developed quite much throughout this film activities and film education also. I'd like to tell her that I don't know how big differences or changes we can make in other students, other in the kids, but I'd like to tell you we can try the best to support them to do. I think I prepared the short film I'd like to show, but we have running out of the time, so I'd like to finish my presentation. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Go. The video or short film, he just introduces, and then once it is done with the editing, it could be shared. It's 2:40 p.m. KST, and it's 7:45 in Germany, and it is in the very early in the morning in Canada. In Mexico, it is 12:45. For the participants living in other countries, it is too early or too late. It could be really tough for you to be awake around this time. Okay, let's make it brief, more brief than we actually prepared. We are going to watch a video clip which is already sent, and let's watch and then we can talk about it later in the discussion session.
Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, who is Penny? I've been dedicating my artistic journey to children. That's why I want to work on and it became name on the web. It suited me well, so I became my own brand to promote and pursue my mission. I believe life offers its loads of magic through wonders and obstacles, and you can spread it sharing constructive stories. I try to teach children to provoke the extraordinary by using their creativity through the process of filmmaking and media empowerment. I may not be flying with an umbrella like the fictional nanny, but I believe we can do magic by telling story using the modest tools we have access to. Being Pammy Poppins gives me the strength to never give up by believing deeply in my powers and convictions. This fictional shield helps me fight the obstacles in the funding of my project of co-creation with children. Co-creating with me is believing everything is possible, even with few resources. The magic begins with sprouts of ideas and grows out to be flowers with love and attention. It could eventually expand to be a great garden of solidarity and compassion with patience and determination. I believe my creativity and my capacity of adaptation have been my key assets for sticking to my mission to produce films and content with and for children. So where does the magic come from? My name is Pamela Bisson. I grew up in a mostly francophone city, the cradle of French America, Quebec City. Located where the St. Lawrence River narrows, Quebec is a very inspiring city to grow up in as an artist. Through times and a lot of travels, I've developed a strong feeling of attachment to my hometown.
I love to share its beauties of nature and get inspired by its architecture, history, and people. Both of my parents and my sister are certified tour guides in the city, and so am I. Sharing my cultural identity and exchanging with different culture has been nourishing in every aspect of my artistic process. My first short film in college was even inspired by the touristic industry in Quebec City. Although it seems to me that we are also remarkable for our stage arts, circus, music, gastronomy, and cinema, our language identity may be a constant fight to preserve, and UNESCO title is a great way to promote the French language and culture. I'm aware that my ancestry reflects more than the French culture. Scottish, Irish, English, and Mi'kmaq people are also part of my genealogical tree. The reason we still speak French in my province could be the topic of a whole different conference. Point is, my culture became my motor to create. I wish to promote it by becoming its great ambassador to the youth audience. And what are my inspirations? I grew up watching a lot of films and television programs of great quality made in Canada or in Quebec, my French-speaking province. I was a big fan. I remember watching films and TV more than doing any homework as a kid, and I wanted to know everything about it back then. There were great programs and films for children and youth in the 1980s and 1990s. The influence of the content I watched on my development when I was young is undeniable. As a young viewer with one French-speaking family channel and a few education shows on public broadcasting networks to choose from, I was in good hands. There was no ocean of infinite content like the web is today. There was no easy way for me to be part of any production. Medias were not democratized. Times were very different. Stories where children played main characters resonated with me very much, and I longed to be part of them. My favorite films were not the American ones, but rather the productions of Vogue de Mers, who created over 25 children's long features that were distributed across the world. His vision inspired me very much to build my life mission. He wanted to make films that would be universal by their themes and that would show children that life is difficult but worth living. He came up with his rule of productions for its series of films. His main characters had to be aged from 9 to 12 and alternate from a girl to a boy as lead character for every film. Being a citizen of the world, he produced a film in French in Quebec, then in English in the other provinces of Canada, and then in a different country, and he would do that for the whole series. Nature had to be part of the plot, and there was always an animal on the set. This whole set of values was very inspirational to me. Although many of his films were big successes around the world, getting the fundings to produce children's films has been challenging through times even for him. To produce his first film, The Dog Who Stopped the War, which became a real classic in Quebec, he had to put his house on mortgage, and his wife brought all her precious jewels to the bank to get fundings to produce the film. I believe you need to be a brave activist to defend your ideas and projects for children's rights in the media. I came up with my own rules through constructive experiences. And how did I get into children's filmmaking? When I was studying social and cultural action at the University of Quebec in Montreal between 2004 and 2007, there were not so many children's films produced between these years in Canada. Reality television was on the rise, and I felt the urge to position myself as an activist for the quality of children's films and media. I took part as an observer to the Children Media Conference organized by the Youth Media Alliance in Montreal. I learned then from panelists that kids would eventually have smartphones, and that producer would have to take that into consideration in the near future. How shocking, I didn't even own one at the time. I got to do my final internship with the content production team of Ramdan, a famous children's program that lasted for 10 years on the public TV broadcaster. I was trying to learn as much as I could from the creators. The focus groups I hosted brought me back to my own child development, and I got very introspective. As a teenager, I got Americanized by Dawson's Creek, Friends, and other shows that made me dream to be part of the American culture. I read teen pop magazines that made me dream of projects we can find here. I needed to buy a different pieces of clothes every week to feel confident about myself. My teenage years were marked by nourishing my power of purchasing futile things. My desire to be empowered was blurred by my desire of consumptions. When I think about it, I feel ashamed. I don't think it should be considered as a rite of passage to love to spend time in a shopping mall. We must promote the power of action and the sense of togetherness to youth. We must develop critical thinking so that children can be aware of all aspects of pop culture. Some growth developmental experiences were significant enough to turn me upside down. First was my canoe trip of 33 days in the northern regions of Quebec when I was 16 with my summer camp. The nomadic experience of living with a strict minimum on lakes and rivers has taught me great values. But what really got me into action was my journey in Dakar, Senegal. This initiation to international cooperation project aimed to produce a song and a video clip to sensibilize girls to stay in school. The experience made me realize how much power of action I'm privileged to benefit from my own country. I intended to use it for good as soon as I got back. It also gave me the strength to accomplish great things with no resources. When I got back, I had no idea it would take me years for me to understand all the things that I had learned from this trip to Dakar and Senegal. But I would no longer be passive about my dreams. To experiment with video, I bought a small handycam as I started to work as a tour guide for students on trips to New York. How ironic, I was finally living and promoting the American dream. Staying long hours and waiting for students in Times Square got me more critical about it in the end. I didn't want to dream anymore. I wanted to take action. In a cute little store in Seoul, I was attracted by neon bright colored wigs and I couldn't resist. I bought a few. I would wear them in crowded places in order to get the students to see me at our meeting point. As I was carrying my handycam with me, I started filming things with my wigs on, and I would get people to be very extroverted in front of the camera. I made experimental videos that got my friend and co-worker interested in creating more videos with me. As a duo, we started to define a concept that would allow us to activate our inner child spirit in the public and urban space. We pretended to be shooting stars who grant wishes and try to understand mankind. We were dressing up and letting ourselves go wild in public to create reactions that would build up in stories in post-production. We would then question mankind in a very spontaneous and candid way. Because we were acting unconventional, people we encountered tended to react to our looks or behavior. We were creating chemical connections between human beings to elevate ourselves in a philosophical way through videos. This was me finding the root of my voice, storytelling through films and videos in 2009 and 2010. But I wanted to share stories about the things that made me grow and were positive to me as a child. Arts, museums, school, and the summer camp experience have been the focus of my childhood. Acknowledging that not every child has access to any of that, I made it my playgrounds to get inspirational. Next thing was to find opportunities and ways to create with children. I made a first short documentary with a 6-year-old girl I invited to discover stage arts with the local youth theater. This first exercise ended up being the origin of a wide project of initiation to arts and cultural journalism that has been active since 2014. In 2012, I started to work as the assistant director where I had previously been a camper and counselor. On the side of my job, I made a large documentary project about the impact of the camp on people. I tried as many ways as possible to create videos with children in a time where the organization had no content strategy yet. In 2014, I started working as an educator at the primary school I went to as a child. This was a trip I needed to remember what it's like to be a child who wants to understand the world around. I started to make short films with children in a very restrictive environment where I had to work with a walkie-talkie to keep in touch with my supervisors while I was filming projects with children. I couldn't either control the time where the parents would pick them up. I still managed to make some humble short films. I always felt a great deal of team spirit in the process, and even though it could be a hassle at times, I had learned ways to be brave in Senegal. I wasn't going to give up on my mission. I also made short films during many lab sessions organized by Kinomada. In a very collaborative way, professionals gathered to make films within a week. I tried to get more adults on my team to produce children's film in that resourceful context. Meanwhile, through my involvement on the board of Video Femme Inspira, the local filmmaker organizations in Quebec City, I found out there could be ways to create more opportunities for me to work with and for children. So I founded a nonprofit organization in 2015 called Le Machin Club. This organization, which aims to produce children media content with and for children, allowed me to create innovative projects in a process of co-creation with the young audience. Therefore, my rules of production and my mission became clear as I shaped the structure of my organization. My rules to create films with and for children. Build a community of children supported by adults. I found the school context too restrictive for my artistic process. I wanted to be able to reach children without having to work with a school. I wanted to be able to blend all ages, children, teenagers, and adults. I also wanted to create a feeling of belonging to the productions, and with Le Machin Club, this aspect became possible. Promote social good and team spirit. Is the film theme related to your audience? What are your social goals with this artistic project? What is the message that the film or project promotes for the young audience? Make it clear for yourself so your creative process finds its way through. The production should ensure participants' involvement and audience growth, as much as influencing your artistic journey. Get the children to be involved in the decision-making process in every step of the production whenever it's possible. To reflect and relate with children in my productions, it's paramount for me to be able to consult them from the beginning of every project I work on. The way I connect with them adapts to every context or issue I want to speak about. Do not wait for funds to take action and create. Being completely free in my creativity has been a form of wealth in itself. The strongest ideas, the ones that you feel in your guts, you must go for them to fulfill your aspirations and be grounded in your mission. If I had waited for funding to start my first projects, nothing would have gotten done, and I would still be dreaming about it. Getting in action can help you find your strategic partners in the production. Look for strategic partners to create with. Are you building any bridges and creating opportunities for children and young people within the rest of the community? Work with others to build a better society. Are there any organizations that share the same values as your film project that could partner with you? Some partners help you get fundings from institutions, and others can help fund parts or even the whole project. Collaboration is the key to be innovative. Stay flexible with children's and partners' ideas and trust the process. Are you giving space to your collaborators, to the children, the professionals and partners in the projects to be involved in the creative process? Let it be organic and trust the process. This project might not end up to be as perfect as you wish, but the next one will be better, and everyone should grow through it. Build bridges. Keep your mind open to the world and its diversity. Share your stories to the world so they encounter other cultures. Make sure your vision is not closed-minded and bring a vibe of togetherness to your project. My strategies will adapt through the context of production. I may have more or less resources in the future in a world that is changing, but this should never stop us from turning our dreams into action. Thank you very much.
In a way, by using these devices and this new method to deliver our messages by giving presentations. After Mr. Lee's presentation, we are going to have discussion. I'm pretty sure that the messages will be delivered in a smooth way. Possibly, please have key points of your questions and let's get it done in a smooth way.
네, 반갑습니다. 저는
Nice to meet you.
미디어 경험의 변화가 우리가 교육을 하는데 어떤 어려움을
I'm 이성철 from 지금 Elementary School,
저의 개인적인 어떤 경험에 근거해서
and I'd like to give a presentation based on my personal experiences about the changes in children media experience and difficulties in film education. I am actually I am carrying out the film education,
다양한 영상들을
and I'd like to share my opinions on how we educate students with the various types of the visual aids,
또 영화에 대한 접근성과 시민의 권리들 이런
and what is the citizens' rights and approach
공간이 제
of
구성원이
film education.
학생들이 마음껏 연기를 하고 또 영화를 제작하고 볼 수 있는
I'm
공간을
very
만들기
interested
위해서
in environment for the students to take a part and to have more actively participation in making films.
활용하는 데는 좀 문제가 있어서 정말
And
안타깝습니다.
I am very sad that we don't have enough space for the students who can access producing films. Many teachers are very interested in the film education to the young students and the youth. It could be hard for the educational experts to offer these various types of activities and opportunities related to film education. We are experts and educators who teach media to the students. I think we have to have more sensitivity and sincerity to see the film education and the media to give better education to the students as well. As you see on the screen, there's one YouTuber from elementary school, and she's eating some seafood. And I found out many young students watch this video, YouTube channels. And the picture on right, I'm pretty sure that you know what it is. It is a slime. When you search slime activities or YouTube channels related to slime making, you can see lots of videos. And some students run their own vlogs on YouTube by using these play tools with the slime. There are more important parts in the videos like storytelling and plots. And nowadays it is more focused on the sensible or sensitive experience is more important than other aspects in the videos. Next picture is showing TikTok. Students are reinforcing their play tools by using these ones, and they share pictures. So there are two parts like a TikTok and a challenge. The reason why this is possible is there are lots of applications and tools students can access very easily to make videos, take pictures, and edit also. This is I'm going to share one video made by a youth. Let me check if it is saved here.
지금 영상이 따로 재생이 안 되는데요.
The video is not played here. But as you see, this is a mosaic, and this is kind of filter, and then young producers change this one based on the TikTok, and then based on the one picture, they change these things, and then this is called cringe. There are some video clips showing finger dances. The students make videos and share and challenge in other ways. That is the new culture among young students. The picture on the very left. This is the first theater I've been to since I was born. The first film I watched was Jurassic Park. It was shocking. And it was my first experience to go to a theater. And the excitement and the nervousness and the sound I felt in the theater still remains vividly in my mind. The theaters are the places which I went with my parents holding hands. And then the experience of watching a movie at the theater was very exciting and very curious when I was younger. And the future in the Middle East era of TV, people could watch movies on TV.
오늘날 학생들에게 실제로 극장에 얼마나 많이 가봤냐라고 물어보면
When I asked the students how many times they've been to the movie theaters, I could feel that there are few students went to the movie theaters in person, and there are more students who watch movies on Netflix or smartphones.
그래서 공간적인 경험도 변화가 되고 있는데
Change of a spatial experience, spread of OTT service bringing into theaters and untapped culture.
스마트폰 안에서 이렇게 보여지고 있다는 거죠.
More movies are shown on the smartphones and other formats.
그래서 조금 더 이러한 학생들의 그 미디어 경험과 우리의 교육 사이에 어떤
And I
연관성이
just
있는지를
look into
비판적으로
the
접근을
children's
해보자면요.
movie watching experience or the children's media experience changing. I'd like to approach a little bit more critically about children and youth film producing education.
상당히 그 어떤 놀이라든지 또
2015 revised Korean language curriculum achievement standards,
어떤
which is
서사와
more
스토리텔링의 어떤 중심이 되는 문학 작품으로서
focused
접근을 하고
on
있는
express
경우가
daily life experiences in form of a story
그런
or
모습들이 좀
play.
보여지고 있습니다. 이 장면을 교과서를 보면 더 확실하게 알 수 있는데요.
Well, we
한국 국어교과서의
take
영화
a look
단어는
at
주로
the
글자,
certain
서사에
parts
초점을
of the
두고
Korean
있습니다.
elementary schools
영화
textbooks.
소나기라는 애니메이션에 대해서 이제 배우는 과정에서 그
This
뒤에
is
있는
the
활동들을
unit to
빼곡하게
study about
글자로 이 영화를
literature,
분석하고
which is called
그
shower,
서사를
소나기.
다시 글로 옮겨서 채워넣는 형태의 교육
This is
내용이
type of the
초등학교
process,
6학년
students learn
학생들의 그 수업 내용으로
approaching
지금 들어가 있죠.
the
과연
literacy.
이러한 것들이 우리가 청소년들의 또 아이들의 그 미디어 경험을 바르게 반영하고 있는 것인가에
Is it
대해서
a right
비판적으로
reflection
봐야 될 부분이 있다고
for the students
생각합니다.
to approach and to understand the film
네, 그리고
education?
일반적으로
And
지금
we have
현재
to check it more
영화
critical
제작을 할 때 학생들하고 영화 제작
perspectives.
교육을 할 때
The
이른바
present of children's youth
3P로
filmmaking
이루어지는 이런
education.
단계들이 있죠.
This is a very critical approach. There are three processes, which is called the three P's: pre-production, production, and the last step is post-production. Is it the way of grown-ups to make a programs, or this is the method to educate the students about filmmaking?
제작하는 것에 굉장히 초점이 되어 있는데요. 이것은 영화의 제작이지 영화의 교육이라고
The way of focusing on male film producing is not regarded as film education, but just filmmaking. But it should be difference between the filmmaking and the film education.
학생들과 영화를 만들어내는 것이 목적인지
What
이런
is
것들이
the
조금
purpose of process-oriented
그
film
경계가
production? Is it the
불분명하다는
purpose
것들이 좀 많이
to
들어오고요.
produce a film or
굉장히 긴 시간과
to
인내심이
have
필요한
film
영화 제작
education?
교육의 방식이
Is the film
아동들에게
production education
적절한지에
method that
대해서도
requires
고민해 볼 필요가
long
있다고
time and
생각했습니다.
patience appropriate for children?
네, 그래서 어린이의 경험을 증진하는 영화 교육을 위해서는 어떤 질문들을 좀
What kind of
여쭤봐야
questions for
할까
film education that
해봤습니다.
respect
왼쪽에는 그
children's
브리티시 필름
experiences?
인스티튜트에서 나왔던
The
필름
first
에듀케이션
one is film
프레임워크인데요.
education framework for
여기 보면
Europe.
상당히 그 아주 상세하게 영화 교육의 어떤
It
목적과
is more
필요한
detailed
역량들이
about film
설정이 되어
education,
있습니다.
like aim
그리고 특히 가운데
and
필름
film
센서빌리티를
sensibility.
세우는 것이
To set up
중요하다라고
film
어떤
sensibility
핵심적인 어떤
is the most
키워드를
important
명시를 해놨고요.
to give
그다음에
film
필름 에듀케이션에
education.
필요한 여러 가지 그 영역들
There are different
그리고
categories
성취
which
기준들
which
그리고
is
최종적으로
needed
어떻게
to
이 영화
give
교육을 거친
film
학생들이
education,
어떤 사람이 될 것인가에 대한
and what is
타겟
the results or
그리고
targets
경험
throughout the processes
이런 다양한
of the film
층위로
education
영화
based on
교육을
these
설명을 하고
categories.
있는데요. 한국의 BFI에 해당하는 영화진흥위원회에서는 작년에
This is
그
what is
영화
called
교육
Korean
청소년
BFI,
영화를
which is called
set 계획을
Movie
발표했었죠. 그
Promotion
안에 목표와
Committee,
함께
and in
영화
its film
교육의 세부
education
목표를 이렇게
details,
도식화했는데요.
objectives. This
크게
is
소통, 공감
visualized
능력, 영상 표현
processes
능력, 향 능력,
and
공동체
communication
역량으로
skills,
네 가지로
visual
합의
video
목표를 설정해 두었습니다.
expression skills,
그러나 왼쪽과
and
비교했을 때
sharing
상당히 부족함이
and
많죠. 저
enjoying
하나의 프레임워크 안에서도
skills
이 영화
and the
교육을
community
통해서
skills.
어떤
If we
인간상을 길러낼
compare
것인가
between these two
까지 모든
different
것들이 다 서술이 되어 있는
rubrics,
반면
then the left one shows more details, categories, and explanations.
이 영화 교육의
And the
세부
one
목표는 이 영화
presented
교육에
by
대해서
the committee is
단순화해서
more
나타내는 것이 방향이 있습니다.
simplified.
그래서 우리는 영화 교육의
So,
목적이 무엇이고 무엇이 목표인지에 대해서 좀 분명하게 고민을 해야
we
될
have
때가
to
됐다라고 생각을
take
하고요.
more consideration
두
into what
번째로
is the film
어린이들의
education
문화가
and
좀
what the results
반영되어
or
있을 필요가
targets
있습니다.
we have to set up
저는 그
throughout the film
이경수
education.
선생님의 그 작품들에 많이 주목을 하는
Another part
편인데요.
is that questions for film
생각보다 그 학생들
education
사이에서의 여러 가지
children's cultures
경험들을 영화로
reflected.
만들어내는 경우들이 많더라고요.
There
그래서
are
이제
more
매일매일 한
films
편씩
represent
이렇게
students
짧은
or
영화나 영상들을
young
만들어낸다고 하는데요.
filmmakers'
학생들이 농담 삼아서
lives.
친구들과 이렇게 대화를 나누는
Sometimes they
그
make
과정을
jokes,
세심하게 교사가
and
살펴보고
the
그
teacher
내용을 가지고 같이 영화를 만들어보는
observed
그런
the students
방식들이고
while they
또
were
이제
having
지속 가능하게 되기
conversations
위해서
which were related to
학생들이
their daily
매우
lives.
쉽게 어떤 큰 편집 없이 큰 어떤 시간이
And
들지
it didn't take a
않아도
lot of
만들
time
수
to edit
있는
while
그런
the
프로세스를
teacher
교실에서
was
갖고
observing
오려는
the
점에서
students
저는
because they
학생들의
share
그
their
여러 가지
lives, which is very
문화들을
close to
세심하게
their
살펴보고
lives. And
영화로
it is much
만들어내는
more
그런
easy
좀
for
반영을
the teacher
받았습니다.
to make a film about the students.
세 번째로
The
어린이들의
third,
수준에 맞을
does
필요가
it fit
있습니다.
children's
그
level?
왼쪽에서는 마찬가지로 BFI의
If
자료인데요.
you see on the left
여기에서
side, this
보면은
is
6세
BFI
아이들부터 이미 여러 가지 그 시각적인
visual aid.
이미지나 정보들에 대해서 이렇게 놀이를 하고 또 그것을 인지할 수 있도록
They had
하는
more
그런 내용들이
experiences
담겨져
or
있어서
activities on
많이
hand,
참고하는 자료이고요.
and it is
오른쪽에는
referred by many
플래미는 프랑스의
people.
그 미디어 교육 센터인데요.
And
플래미에서는
then
생애 주기별 교육을
the
통해서
table on
마찬가지로
the right
5살부터
is
학생들이
Grammy
그런 시각
is
이미지를 놀이를 통해서 접근하고 또
they
인식할 수
approach
있도록
the
도와주고 있습니다.
visual aids as a
그런
tool
부분들에 비해서
when they
초등학교
play.
6학년 때에 돼서 이제 영화를 다루고
When they
그리고
became
한 초등학교 한
sixth
3학년
grade
차부터 이제
in
본격적으로
elementary,
어떤 매체에 대한 교육들이
they
나오는 우리나라의
approached the
교육 과정
film.
부분에서
And for the third
이런
graders, they started to
매체들에 접근하는
learn
것은 좀
or
상당히
how to
보수적이고
access to
아직까지
the
이렇게
media.
적극적으로 반영되어 있지 않은
It was
부분을
not
좀 비판적으로 고민해 볼
well
필요가 있다고
reflected
생각이
more
들었습니다.
actively than expected.
리터러시라는 말이 많이 나오고
What does
있는데요.
literacy mean?
결국 리터러시는 어떤 산업에서의 어떤 위기를 반영하고 있는 말이라고
Literacy
생각을
is
해요.
reflecting the
그래서
crisis of
기존의
the
레거시
industry,
미디어나 뉴스에
in my
대한
opinion.
어떤 위기 의식은 뉴스 리터러시라는 말을
Yes, literacy
만들어내고요.
is showing the crisis of
그리고
the
또
society.
게임에 대한 어떤 사회적인 비판 여론과 여러 가지
There are
제약들
many
이런
critical
것들을 또
issues or
게이미피케이션이나 게임
opinions
리터러시라는 말을
regarded
만들어내기도
as
했죠.
game literacy.
그렇다면 필름 리터러시는 어떨까요?
What
저는
does
필름
film literacy
리터러시도
mean?
이렇게 청소년들의 영화 경험이 변화되고 있는
I think the
부분에서
changes in
앞으로의
the
그
youth
영화 독자들,
and the film
영화를
literacy
이용하는 사람들에 대한 어떤 교육이
is
필요하다는 위기 의식과
related
관련이
to
있다고
the
생각합니다.
sense of
그래서 점점
being
더 우리가
to
영화를
see the
구입하는
criticize
방식들,
the
청소년들이 이해하는
changes of the
이해할 수
young
있는
students and the
방법들이
children's
어려워지고
media
있지만
uses.
그럼에도 불구하고 앞으로의 그 영화 교육이 있어서 우리는
I'm pretty sure
보다
that
더
all
그
the
청소년들의
experts
어떤
know
논의와
what we have to
또
do to
체험과
give better film
그리고 어떤
education
공간의
to
변화까지
or
고려하는
better
부분들에
uses of the media for
반영할
our
교육들이
young
이루어져야
students.
되고요.
I think we have to try
또 이런
harder
부분들이
to
우리가
set up
그
the
교육 과정
better
안에서도
standards
충분히 좀
which could be
반영이 되어
included
있는
to
새로운
our
또 교육들을 좀 시도해
school
볼 때가
curriculum.
아닌가 싶습니다. 네, 여기까지 마치도록 하겠습니다.
Okay, thank you for listening. Give a big hand to him. This is the last presentation from Mexico. Let's watch the video of Lisa Gutera, and then we are going to have discussion session right after the last presentation.
Thank you so much to Mr. Kim Sang-wan for this invitation to participate in this Forum Untitled Children's Film Festival, giving me the opportunity to present the project of La Matatena in Mexico City. The seed of the project is the International Children's Film Festival in Mexico and for not young. It's a festival who started 25 years ago in 1995. And the main objective of creating this festival is to give an option for the kids in Mexico to bring them the chance to see all the best production for children film around the world. The festival being made year by year. Filmoteca and 6 cultural centers in the city that we call Lighthouse Ground. In this week, we made 64 screenings totally, and we have an impact of 10,000 or 12,000 kids and their parents in those cinemas I mentioned before. The design of the festival is to screen about 74 or 18 films from 30 or 45 countries around the world. Most of the films are screened in a very professional way, and we made a double voice in each screening for offer the kids and their parents the transmissions in Spanish. 4 years later, after we started to screen quality films during the festival on summer holidays, we decided to create in 1997 La Matatena, as we want to start to design many workshops who give the chance to introduce the kids to the world of the image and develop to transit to be a passive spectator to start to make their own films. La Matatena also is very well known in Mexico and works all the year, developing our workshops, attending a different kinds of kids in the iten of the cinema. We start to design and create different methodologies to introduce the kids at the world of cinema. We develop a workshop, the name is Frame by Frame in animation, clay animation, stop motion. And this year is our 21st anniversary, producing 4 or 5 films by the year made by the Mexican kids. Nowadays, our archive comes with 173 short films made by the Mexican kids. The workshop, Frame by Frame, from La Matatena, brings children closer to arts, often them a place of exchange and expression with their peers, promote collective work, satisfaction, and raises their esteem, find their best ideas, listen with a lot of respect between each other, and create. At that, they found how deeply proud they are to participate making their own films. The workshop of La Matatena give and share tools with the kids and empower them to tell us stories using their creativity by their own aesthetic style and give us the chance to know what kind of items they want to talk and shoot in their films. Our animation workshop, Frame by Frame, is designed and made in 8 Saturdays, and the kids come into our place from 10 until 2 in the afternoon. We work 4 hours each Saturday, and in 8 sessions, we start to work together, develop and select the idea of the story, create characters, and we use the last 3 sessions for shooting their film, frame by frame. The workshop is open for the kids who have 6 until 12 years old. We discovered in all those groups that the little kids are very exciting and learn a lot being for the older ones. It's a great and fruitful experience, good exchange, nice creation, and very good moments. This workshop is a non-formal education place for offering to the kids for know more about film, listen each other, share tools, understand how it works cinema, how to use the specific language, and understand how important is to be a filmmaker for express their ideas with the help of the cinematographic language and create movies. Now I will talk a little bit how we work with the kids. We used to introduce the kids to the world of movement image, talking a little bit about the history of the cinema. We used to watch some of the first screening of Lumiere's brother and also Georges Méliès, the emblematic trip to the moon. For select the story in collective, each kid needs to come and read us their proposals. Later, we need to discuss and decide the best idea for making in animation. They need to know what it means to give life to something that don't happen. We check different ways and techniques to give life. How the professional animators create wonderful things with many different materials and techniques. After they have the story and it's approved of everybody, the kids needs to create in collective their storyboards. The storyboards help to think how they are going to tell us the story using the cinematographic language, and also can help us to organize the pre-production of the film, the characters, sets, props, and all details who helps a lot for shooting the film. We impulse them to consider in the group as a writers of the story, producer, create, directing, to make and know everything. They take very seriously the responsibility to create a film and follow the collective goals. Design's character is very creative time, and also the sets when they will take life. Props who are important in the story also we need to consider. Now the characters, sets, props are done. Then we need to start shooting and make all the special effects. They learn and explore for do the best to animate their short film. All this process also includes to record their own dialogue, the different incidental sounds, and we need to create and record the exit roll with all credits. Cinema aims at children ensure that the kids make contact with the image, and it is also the great opportunity for children to be portrayed in the true spaces in situations that they are really common to them, and they are identifying their needs, emotions, and problems, as well as to make known to the viewers what they really like and happen to. Children are also citizens who deserve all the best. We have to start from the fact that there is a responsibility to produce cinema made for them, but also to empower them to participate and shoot in their own stories, giving them the chance to express. We organize a premiere who help us a lot to recognize them how important is what they did. It's magic and amazing. It's a great chance to see in the big screen all what they made with a new group of kids who've been together during 2 months and made everything. They used to say how they love and also which part was not so funny for them or difficult. But they always talk about the effort they put in each session for making their film. Children need to express always, and they have a lot to say, and in many ways. Is one of their human rights. I could say thank you for giving us the chance to share our experience, and we will finish this presentation with a very endearing character. The name is Raphael, a film who was recognition in many festivals and received a lot of awards as one of the best films made by the Mexican kids in the workshop frame by frame at La Matateca.
Tú no puedes subir. ¿Por qué no puedo subir? Porque eres una pequeña flor. Sí lo soy, y ellos también son pequeños. Entonces, ¿por qué no puedo subir? Porque te va a dar mucho miedo. No, por favor, que no quiero subir. Por favor, por favor. Él sí tiene miedo. Tú no puedes subir porque te vas a caer. No, porque eres una pequeña flor y punto. Quiero simplemente ver a esa familia. ¿Es que tú nunca has sentido lo que siento ahora? ¿Puedo entrar a la clase? ¿Puedo bailar? No. Tú no puedes bailar. ¿Por qué no? Porque eres un cactus y puedes girar todas mis bailarinas. ¿Por qué no? ¡Es injusto! Cuídamelo mucho. Está bien, los que quieran subir al camión, hagan una fila aquí. Y los que no, saquen un pañuelo para despedirnos. Realizado por... Hola, soy Adela y tengo 11 años. Hola, soy Adrián y tengo 8 años. Hola, soy Alexis y tengo 12 años. Hola, soy Diego y tengo 6 años. Hola, soy Diego y tengo 10 años. Soy Emilio y tengo 12 años. Hola, soy Emilio y tengo 10 años. Hola, soy Euler y tengo 7 años. Hola, soy Giovanni. Tengo 11 años. Me llamo Jesús. Tengo 6 años. Yo soy un vendedor y vengo a limpiar las estrellas de hoy. Tengo 11 años. Hola, soy Samuel y tengo 9 años. Y tengo 12 años.
With this time, the presenter leaves at Hotera. We've been through 1.5 hours or 1 and 35 minutes. You can freely share your opinions if you have any questions. Because some people came late for this forum. You can speak Korean, and there is another translator to translate from Korean into English to the participants living in Canada, Mexico, and Germany. So please use the receiver. Hello. Thank you for the presentation. 안녕하세요. 저는 살펴봐요. 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 저는 콘스탄트 베이어 독일에서 인사드립니다. Contribution. 그래서 너무 심한데. 제가 밖에 나가서 할까요, 그냥? 괜찮았잖아. I'm pretty sure that there are some technical problems because it is the first time for us to challenge this issue to host this forum. I hope you understand these technical issues. Can you hear me? 네, 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 펜이 있어요?
혜미가 안 들려. 지금 기다려야 될 것 같아. 두 분이 안 들어와가지고 조금만 했으면 될 것 같아.
Okay, did you watch the other presenters' presentation? If you have any questions, please ask questions to the presenters who gave. 네, 제가 봤습니다.
해보시면 꺼놔가지고.
Okay, now you can ask the questions, please. Even though we have a perfect rehearsal, but I think we still have challenging some technical issues. Though we have some technical issues, but I'm pretty sure that the other teachers' experiences according to the film education is shared as we expected. What do you think of that? Even though we are facing some technical issues, because this is the first time for us and we are not device experts, but I'm pretty sure that all the presentation is shared in the way expected.
윤진쌤 목소리 잘 들려.
What do you think of the presentation?
지금 성적은 지금 안 되고 1이거든.
저분이 말씀하신 거는 그 위원장님 질문했던 그대로 전달을 드렸고요. 제가 이런 일이 있어도 제가 여러분들이 발표한 내용에 대해서 상당히 리시버가 있으셔야지. 흥미롭고 그것이 상당히 어떤 관심을 끄는 프레젠테이션이라고 생각을 합니다. Let's take a few questions from the participants who are mostly school teachers at the forum now. Okay, throughout your presentation, I'm wondering the qualification or the value of the Korean education.
네, 제가 첫 번째 그 발표를 들으면서요. 그 프로그램이 전문적인 영화인을 육성하기 위한 그런 프로그램이라고 느껴졌거든요.
Your program is
어떤
like professional office to produce filmmakers. What is the educational value you are pursuing in your program?
켜주세요.
학생들은 주로 팀워크로 일을 하고요. 그것이 저희의 주안점입니다. 그런데 학생들이 그 영화를 만든 데 있어서 각자 접근하는 방식 그리고 아이들이 함께 팀으로 구성을 해서 그룹으로 그 일을 하는데 조금 더 의미가 있다고 생각합니다.
근데 안 들었어요. 메시지 좀 보내주세요.
One of the teacher is waving his hand. I have two questions. The devices students use are offered by the school or they have to prepare their own devices on their own. How many students are taking a part? 대부분의 어떤 그 학생들의 개인 물품하고 학교에서 제공하는 물품을 같이 혼합해서 아이들이 사용하고 주로 이제 아이패드 같은 경우에는 아이들의 개인적인 용품입니다. 선생님 두 번째 질문 다시 좀 부탁드릴게요. He has another question.
두 번째 질문이 있는데 선택 과목으로 수업이 진행이 되고 있는데 선택 과목에
This is alternative. This class is elective course in the school. I'm wondering how much effort the students put in their elective courses, even though it is not core courses in the school. Okay, so as you said, this class could be an elective course rather than the core courses done in the school. So I am wondering how much effort the students to take part in more actively.
They choose it starting with at the school, choose this class.
학생들이 학교에 등록을 하게 되면
For 2 hours per week,
등록을 하고요.
at home for the production part as well. So they
처음에 배우는 학습 과정이 있고 제작 과정이 있습니다. Could you repeat, please? Could you repeat your answer, please?
they have in school they have 2 hours for class and 90 minutes and two school hours, and they work more time at home for the production.
학생들이 보통 수업을 듣는 시간이 2시간 정도 해서 90분 정도가 있고요. 그리고 집에서 아이들이 해야 하는 작업들도 있습니다. 그래서 어떻게 보면 집에서도 하고 학교에서도 하니까 아이들이 조금 더 그러한 부분들에 대해서 참여할 수 있다고 지금 말씀하시는 것 같아요.
학교가 다른 교육 과정을 운영하는 정식 학교인지
I'm wondering if it is special school running only film-related education, or this is the regular school including the film education. What kind of students can attend this school? 저희는 영화 교육을 위한 특별한 학교입니다.
Sort of special school, but it's also a normal school where students make
일반 학교에서도 아이들이 경기 수업을 듣고 있고요. 우리 학교는 영화 교육에 주안점을 둔 그런 특수학교라고 볼 수 있겠습니다.
근데 아직 두 분 다 안 들어오셨, 두 분이 안 들어왔어요. 이제 들어오겠대요. 이제 들어오겠죠. 방 이름이고
We invited 2 more participants living in Mexico and Quebec, but they are not in present.
또 그러면은 질문하시려고 혹시 더 계신 분? 없으면 거꾸로 제가 우리 선생님과
Ms. Constantine, do you have any questions about the film education in Korea, or you watch the YouTube video while other participants giving presentation? Do you have any questions? 많은 학교에서는 그 영화 교육을 많은 학교에서 실시하고 있는지 그것이 정기 프로그램에 포함되어 있는지 궁금합니다. When I gave a presentation, our school is designated as Art Flower State School. There are various culture-related arts like musical or film. Our school is the only one which is distinctive as giving an education as a part of regular curriculum. Officially, our school is the only one, but there are various schools and ministries giving lecture program, which is supported by government. Lots of education done by the teachers in many schools. Official.
보니까 많은 것을 말씀을 드렸는데 저희 한국문화예술교육진흥원에서 예술강사 지원사항이 있거든요.
There are sponsorship and partnerships by the Korean Education Ministry Department. The lecturers in school, in regular schools.
한국에서는 그 국가 수준의 국가가 주도하는 교육 과정이
이러한 프로그램이 많은 학교에서 인기가 있는 프로그램인지 궁금합니다. Let me answer. Before I mention the satisfaction about the film education done in school, some school students have opportunity to have film education, but not all the students can have opportunities to take this film education. We have free curriculum session and it is decided by the school and the school committee. The Korean government offers some resources and materials to give film education to the students. However, this type of lessons or lectures not as much as we could see the cases in other countries. The hours offered to the students are limited and the support is limited also. So it is not as much as opportunity for the students to have this well-prepared and organized film education as done in your country or other more beneficial countries.
So we have no official program in Germany as far to the state as well. So
저희들도 정형화된 수업을 이렇게 아직까지 독일에서도 하고 있지는 않습니다. Okay. Thank you for your opinion and your question.
thank you for inviting me and for letting me be with you. It was very great by doing that. And
저를 초대해 주셔서 감사드리고 저도 많은 영감을 받고 있어서 더 없는 감사를 드립니다.
우리 지금 이제 이분하고는 마치는 걸로 해야 될 것 같아요. 지금 너무 오랫동안
읽어주세요.
어때요?
Thank you for being with us at this forum, and it is a great opportunity for us to hear from you. And I think we can finish the session with you at this moment, because it is too much for you to wait.
it's okay, but I will stay online, and if there are some more questions, you can call me again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much and have a nice festival. Thank you.
감사합니다. 그리고 좋은 축제를 보내기 바랍니다. 감사합니다. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think you may leave. Danke. Dankeschön. 말이 안 되겠다. 보니까. 여기 새벽 3시에요 지금? 아닌데 이건 아침이잖아 지금.
podcast 했기 때문에 그냥 하세요.
몇 시인데요?
3시 50분.
아니요 선생님 시간이 4시 반에 바뀌었어. 빠른데 나. 더 빠른데. 문제가 뭐냐면 PPT를 하면서 컴퓨터에 다른 거랑 친구가 마음 찾아가지고 했는데 화면이 안 보여서 그게 제일 프로인데 아니요 아니에요. 교권 안에 들어가 있는 거 영어 쓰고 있는 건 아니고 정규 과정이라고 하긴 보기 힘들겠다. 그냥 그 선생님이랑 지금 구글 챗스피커 질문해갖고 선생님한테 전달하는 게 더 낫지 않아요? 스카이프보다? 아니 바로 그럼 똑같이 그냥 들어오는 그러니까
햄이 카톡 왔어? 아, 햄이 있어가지고 지금
지난주에 기자회견 나왔어. 그 얘기를 잠깐 나눠보도록 할까요? 에서 본인이 먼저 전화.
다 들어왔어. 다 들어왔어.
제가 계속 보고 있었지만 제가 아마 컴퓨터에 나타나지 않았던 것 같습니다. 크리스tina 신들을 아십니까? 아니요.
아, 여기 비추고 있어요.
야, 우리가 모두 지금 컴퓨터 화면에 보이는 거죠? 제가 다시 한 번 더 시도해 보도록 하겠습니다. 안녕하세요. Hello.
진행 좀 해달라고. 질문하고 진행 좀 해달라고.
Okay, do you have anything you want to mention or do you have any questions about the presentation?
다시 얘기해주세요. 질문 안 들어갔어요.
Welcome to the BIKY Forum.
데뷔 캐나다 몬트리올에 있는 데뷔가 말씀드린 부분에 대해서
If you have any questions about the presentation, Pammy gave us. Please feel free to ask questions to the presenters who are waiting to take questions. I have a question.
멕시코 애니메이션 플레이 하는데 플레이를 만든 거는 애들이 다 만든 것 같은데 실제 촬영과 조명이라든지
I have a question to Lisette. So I saw the animation and I'm wondering all the clay figures made by the kids.
그거 촬영이나 다른 거. Yes.
좀 다시 얘기해 주세요. I think all the clays that made by hand and who shoot or who to take the shoots when the film made. 그 과정에서 아이들이 참여하게 되었고 매주 토요일마다 만나서 저희가 만들었고요. 아이들도 슈팅을 시작하기 시작했습니다. 그러니까 아이들이 그 선생님들과 함께 그 작품을 만들었고요.
스토리보드를 만들고 촬영을 시작하게 되었습니다. 8일간을 8번을 토요일마다 만들어야 됐고요. 워크숍에서 아이들이 영화를 촬영하고 2개 동안 후반 작업을 했습니다.
전체적인 과정에 대해서 말씀을 하신 것 같은데 매주 토요일마다 만나서 아이들이 그 클레이를 만들고 아이들도 작품을 슈팅도 같이 했고요. 그 다음에 나중에 아이들이 함께 영화를 함께 보는 그런 과정까지 전체적으로 설명을 하셨습니다.
지금 어린이가 주도적으로 참여하는 영화의 의미에 있어서 이거 비율을 정확하게 얘기하기 굉장히 어렵지만 어느 정도 어린이들이 참여하는 프로젝트들을 그들의 주도로 보는 건지.
I have a question for you, Penny. There are different types of the movie done by the youth or children. So how much effort or how much percentage of the effort done by the kids are regarded as the films made by kids or youth? Pammy, can you hear me?
문제가 있는 것 같아. 한 번만 다시 얘기해 볼래? 한 번만 다시 얘기해.
Penny Poppins, can you hear us? Okay, I have a question for you. So there are various types of the films regarded made by the youth or children. So how much percentage of the effort or work done by the kids are regarded as the film made by the youth, in your opinion? Yes, we do.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, cousins. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Did you hear my question? 지금 가잖아.
Well, the films are made by the youth. They're made. That answering your question. The films are the kids are involved from the beginning. The first
네, 제가 생각하는 아이들이 만든 영화라는 것은 아이들의 생각이 초기 작업부터 시작되어야 되고요. 그리고 그 영화는 아이들이 만든 것뿐만이 아니라 관객도 아이들이 되어야 된다고 제가 생각을 하고 있습니다. 그러니까 저번에 말씀해 주시는 그 프레젠테이션에도 있었지만 아이들이 초기 작업부터 그들의 생각과 그들의 사고방식으로 시작을 해서 영화가 만들어져야 청소년이 만든 영화라고 인식을 한다고 말씀을 하십니다. 네네. So I have another question for Penny. How can you gather the kids to get involved in filmmaking? Yeah, to make films. 질문을 했는데 저쪽에서 지금 듣지를 못하고 있는 것 같아요.
저쪽에 딜레이가 있는 것 같아. 캐나다에.
네트워크가 조금 상황이 안 맞는 것 같아요. 지금.
가만히 안 되죠.
지금 이 어려운 상황에서 어쨌든 뭔가 소통해 보려고 애쓰고 계신 이 세 분께 박수 보내면서 오늘 여기서 마치도록 하겠습니다.
문제가 끝나고 나서. Let me be excused.
하는 중입니다.
I think this disconnection and technical issues stop us from having a smooth communication online. So we are very honored to have you as presenters today at BIKY Forum. And I think it's a better idea to finish our forum at this moment.
금방 이제 여기 질문했지만 지금 우리 연주 초등학생님은 이 프로젝트에 참여하는 구성원을 도대체 어떻게 모아가지고 하느냐 이런 것도 지금 학교 안에서도 고민이 있는 것 같아요.
텍스트라도 좀 올려주면
네네네.
그건 안 봐준다. 지금 영화를 만드는
이제 김을 끌게요. 네.
전교생이 1000명이 지금 큰 한표죠. 엄청 강하게 그러다 보니까 이제 희망하는 친구들을 프로젝트에 모집을 하려고 하는데 맞아요. 잘 알려고 하죠. 저희들 비키즈 어린이 청소년 집행위원 하려고 모임 하려고 하면 진짜 시간 맞춰 준다. 얼마나 바쁜지 인간들이. 이런 구조를 만들어 놓고 있는 게 지금 이제 어른들이 욕심이 지금 그렇게 만들어 놓고 있는데 얘기까지 만들어 가면 안 되는데 여튼 지금 각각 저해져 있는 조건에 따라서 고민하는 방식들이 많이 다른 것 같아요. 그런 차이들을 지금 오늘 굉장히 크게 발견한 것 같은데 제가 이제 초기에 이제 이 경험을 지금 던져냈던 것은 이 프로젝트의 주도권을 어디까지로 거들로 볼 것인가. 지금 여기 제가 거들이라고 하는데 18세 이하의 영화를 얘기하는 겁니다. 그러니까 여기 지금 이제 그 설정해놓고 있는 페미 같은 경우에는 설정해놓고 있는 것이 시작과 완결까지가 이제 그들에 의해서 주도되는 경향을 가지면 이 정확한 비율을 따지면 굉장히 어렵지만 그들에 의해서 주도되는 경향이 보이면 그들의 프로젝트를 볼 수 있다. 이렇게 이제 얘기하는 거고 이 비율을 정한다는 건 사실은 굉장히 어렵긴 해요. 어렵긴 한데 레디액션에 지금 올해 40편으로 들어와 있는 영화들을 몇 편쯤 보셨는지 모르겠으나 아마 거의 안 보실 거예요. 지금 여기 계신 분들은 그거 안 보고 이제 다른 영화를 많이 보시죠. 가능하면 극장에서 봐주세요. 왜냐하면 지금 온라인으로 지금 저희들이 상영을 하고 있지만 극장에서 보게 되면 지금 온라인으로 여러분들이 만나는 화질이나 오디오나 이런 조건들이 완전하게 다르게 보입니다. 이 경험을 어른들도 지금 꼭 해주셔야 돼요. 그래야 그들이 만들어내고 있는 경험치가 굉장히 넓혀질 수 있고 영화를 만들어내는 역량이 굉장히 커질 수 있어요. 아마 한번 경험해 보시면 아실 거예요. 지금 스마트폰이나 PC로 온라인으로 레디에이션 영화를 보는 거 하고, 지금 우리가 극장에서 DCP로 변환해가지고 영화를 보는 거 하고, 이게 얼마나 질적으로 다른 모습을 가지고 있는지를 한번 경험하시면, 이거 이 문제들을 어떻게 해결해야 될 것인가라고 하는 교육 교수법에 관련된 새로운 고민들을 아마 우리가 하는 거라는 생각이 듭니다. 그래서 제가 지금 이 질문을 이번 그 주제에서 한번 꼭 던지고 싶고, 그걸 가지고 좀 깊이 있게 토론을 좀 나누고 싶어 했는데요. 보다시피 지금 해외하고 같은 고민을 이렇게 교류를 해보려고 애를 썼으나, 이게 관계가 정말 쉽지가 않네요. 이게 그냥 만나가지고 우리가 얘기하면은 말을 몇 마디 안 해도 그냥 대충 이렇게 통하는데, 여기는 엄청나게 많은 말을 해야 되고, 번복해서 내 말이 그 뜻이 아니고 이런 뜻이다라는 거 지금 메일로 주고받은 거면 지금 굉장히 많아요. 그런데 와 있는 발전문은 저희들이 얻어있던 거하고 좀 다른 방식이에요. 대부분 개인적 경험에 기초한 발전문들을 어쩔 수 없는 단계여서 이렇게 진행이 됐는데요. 한번 우리 그 두 선생님뿐만 아니라 여기 대부분 이제 영화 전문가들만 나오고 계시고, 학교 또 현장에 계시지만 영화와 관련한 이제 경험들을 다 지금 현재 일을 하고 계신 분들이 다 제가 보기에는 다 그렇게 하고 계신 것 같아서 자유롭게 질문을 좀 한번 해보고 답을 짧게 좀 듣는 걸로 해서 마무리해야 될 것 같습니다. 우리 유네스코 영화 창의도시의 뭐라고 해야 되지? 팀장이라고
네.
네.
그 선생님한테 좀 여쭙고 싶은 거는 학교가 아닌 학교 밖에서 영화 교육을 한다고 하면 어떤 교육을 했을 때 학생들이나 교사님들이 관심을 가지고 참여할 수 있는지에 하기도 하거든요. 그러니까 물론 저희 나름대로 이것들이 학생들과 같이 호흡할 수 있겠다고 생각해서 프로그램을 만들지만, 때로는 이게 정말 학생들이 계속 관심을 가질 수 있는 프로그램인지 이런 생각들이 들어서 선생님들 생각은
유네스코 영화 창의도시뿐만 아니라 지금 영화의 전당에서 아카데미에 관련된 이제 일들을 많이 하고 계신데, 프로그램을 만들 때 지금 실제로 그런 고민을 많이 하고 지금 학교에 계신 선생님들도 한번 조언을 몇 마디 좀 해주시면.
제가 본 프로그램을 할 때 어떤 프로그램을 하든 항상 똑같은 문제